Hello fellow woodworkers and welcome to this week's edition of the Garage Workshop, and in this week's video we're going to be taking a look at this, the Parkside PAWD 20Li A1 20 volt cordless wet and dry vacuum cleaner, and we're going to be pitching it against this. Roll the intro. So this week I'm going to be reviewing the Parkside PAWD 20Li A1 cordless wet and dry vacuum. So obviously the first thing to do was to unbox it, and this Parkside vacuum has 60 air watts of suction power. It actually has two power modes, a power mode and an eco mode selector. The eco mode is obviously to extend the life of the battery when you don't need as powerful suction. It's got an 8-litre container volume, and it is the lowest dust class L, with 99% separation efficiency. This product is a bare unit. It doesn't come with a battery and charger, so you already need to have those or buy them separately, and the cost was $39.99. Now, we are comparing it against this, the Hychika equivalent wet and dry vac. It's the MDC 201-150W15L, and this has got a 150 watt motor. It has 35 cubic feet per minute, or CFM suction and blow capacity. It's a 10 kPa or kilopascals Hoover vacuum. It runs on a 20 volt 4 amp hour battery, which is the same as the Parkside, and has a 15 litre container volume. And at the moment the Hychika is retailing at £57.99, which is a lot less than it was when I reviewed it earlier in the year. I think it was about £70. So let's give them a go. Let's look at the Parkside first and put them head to head. So fellow woodworkers, here is the vacuum cleaner all unpacked, and you probably noticed the same thing as me, which is the incredible amount of extra accessories, bits and bobs you get with it. You've got an extension hose, you've even got a little, I presume that right hand connector is for when you use it in an extended manner. I'll tell you what the exact thing is. This is a filling nozzle, apparently. It's got everything that's standard. It is a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be initially, but it is a Parkside tool. You never really know until you open them what you get. In terms of the build quality, it's a very typical green Parkside plastic. The actual main Hoover itself, or vacuum itself, does feel quite good, to be fair. It's slightly different to the Hychika in the way that it's manufactured. The Hychika plastic is a sort of little bit more brittle, if you know what I mean, and this feels a little bit stronger. So the main body on the top, we have got the power switch there. That's also how you select the mode. You press it once to get power mode, you press it again and it puts it into the sort of eco power mode. The filter is obviously on the inside there. Quite a long filter, takes up pretty much most of the body, and here is there is where you insert the battery. See if I can hold it open so you can see. Very similar to the Hychika as well. That's got a battery pack on the top. Here we've got the container, and I think when you look at the container you really can see how small this product is. Now, it does require a tiny little bit of assembly in the fact that you can put this on the back here, like so. It's nice and easy, so he says. There we go. And that is storage for your hoses to sit in there while it's on the unit. You can put other things in it too, but to be honest with you, I never really keep these hoses. I've got some for my Hychika and I've got some for my Evolution. I just tend to store these separately. Now, the one thing I will draw your attention to straight off, because it's a really important one, is the hose. The hose is really cheap. I think you can probably hear that. It's really, really cheap, and I don't want to say nasty, but you know that that's not going to last very long. And when you have products like this, I know when I first bought my Titan wet and dry vac years and years ago, it actually split, the hose actually split on me. Luckily, I'd had a previous one, so I just used that hose. I always keep them, but it's that sort of really not very nice, very, very cheap molded plastic, which is a bit of a shame because usually Parkside tools don't have that. But you do have to remember, Parkside tools do come with a really, really good guarantee. So we're going to compare it with this, the Hychika, incredibly long name, which I will put on the bottom of the screen, which I reviewed on a 10-minute tool review earlier in the year. Now, this has a 150 watt motor, this Hychika vacuum. It's got a 35 CFM or cubic feet per minute suction and blow capacity. Both of these suck and blow. It's got a 10 kPa or kilo pascals rating, and like the Parkside, it runs on a 20 volt 4 amp hour battery. It has a 15 litre container volume, and at the moment is retailing at £57.99p, which is a lot less than when I reviewed it earlier in the year. I think it was £70 when I reviewed it earlier in the year. And as you'll know from a recent video, I absolutely love this little vac. So let's hook it up, try it against or in comparison with the Parkside and see which one comes out on top. Okay, so here it is unpacked. As you can see, quite a lot of accessories with it. It's also got wheels on it, but to be honest with you, I'm not going to put these on. I just find they get in the way a little bit. There's loads of different accessories, the extension bars, so that you can use it while you're sort of standing up. Obviously, you've got the head. There's lots of different types, and this is the sort of top angled part of it. We've got a nozzle connector and obviously the hose. Now, I'm going to say straight off, first thing I've come across before I've even plugged this in, the hose is really, really sort of that horrible, cheapish, sort of rigid plastic, the type that sort of splits really, really easily. It's a shame because usually Parkside products are really, really well made, but I can just tell that this hose is not going to last very long. It's not very well molded either. There are sort of lumpy bits on it, and the connectors on the end aren't 100% straight, so not really that impressed with that. As I said, it doesn't come with a battery, so I've got a 4 amp hour 20 volt Parkside team battery here, which is fully charged. It's dead simple to put the battery in. Like the Hychika, you've just got a slot on the end there, and it slides in this way round, or it should. There it goes, and it closes in like that. Now, it has got a bag. It does come with a bag. I never, ever use them. Even when I'm using sucking up just dust and I'm not doing water, I never use those anyway. So let's put it back together. And I'm just going to switch it on and we'll see how loud it is. Then I'll do a decibel reading. So I'll put it on full power to start with. Let me just attach the incredibly good hose onto the end. That hose is not a great fit on the end there either, to be honest. And it is, I mean, one good thing, it is a very long hose. Right, okay, so let's listen to how it sounds. I think you press it once and it gives you the eco power, and then press it again to give you full power. I think that's the eco power, I think. and that's the full power. So I'll get my phone and we'll give it a little decibel reading. Okay, so I've got my sound meter, which is here, which is measured. It's 15 centimeters away from the unit. So I'm going to take a reading of the lower power speed and then the higher power speed, and let's see how loud it is. Okay, so at the lower power speed, the decibel reading was 74, and then when I put it onto the higher power speed, it went up to 78. So 74 and 78, which isn't too bad. I mean, I can't tell how you're hearing it, but from where I am, it's not uncomfortable on the ear. It's certainly a lot better at the eco range. So I've got a nice pile of sawdust on the floor. Let's see how well it picks it up. Okay, so I've got my pile of sawdust here, and I'm going to put it straight into the power mode. I've just put the nozzle, the sort of flat nozzle on the end. Let's see how well it picks up the sawdust. Okay, I'm not sure how quick that was. I'll put a timer on the screen, but it certainly felt really powerful, and it took that pile of sawdust away really quickly. So impressed with that. Okay, so what we're going to do for this test is see how quickly this can hoover out this tub of rice. Please don't flame me in the comments. I'm not wasting food. I found this pack in the back of the cupboard and it's over 3 years out of date. So I'm literally going to put a timer on the screen now. I'm going to go full power first of all with the Parkside and see how long it takes. I'm also going to time it just with my phone in front of me. Just so I can get an accurate timer, but I'll do it in real time. So let's see how quickly it can suck up the rice from this cup. Okay, now I started the stopwatch and I didn't start the hoover, the vacuum, until the stopwatch was on number 1 or 1 second in. So it finished on 11. So that makes the Parkside, it took 10 seconds to get rid of that rice. There was actually 400 grams of rice in that cup. So let's do exactly the same test again with a Hychika. Okay, exactly the same thing again. Obviously, the Hychika's only got one power socket. The only difference is I can't find the end of my Hychika, and the end of the Parkside doesn't fit this. So we'll just go with the nozzle. It's very similar shape. So I'll start that and start the Hychika. Okay, hopefully I've managed to put something on screen that so you can see that. As you will have heard, it took the Hychika a couple of seconds to sort of get going, but the suction, the power was much quicker, and actually it sucked that whole pot up in 8 seconds, which was quite a lot faster than the Parkside. But I do have to give the caveat that obviously this is a more powerful motor than the Parkside. And I don't know if having a bigger capacity makes any difference or not, but the last test we're going to do is just to test the blow function and see how well they compare against each other. Okay, so I've got a little pile of sawdust on the table here. I've just marked cup and poured it in so I know that I'll get the same amount on both times. And all I'm going to do is put the end of the nozzle at the opposite side of my workbench and just see if it manages to blow this or any of this off of the end. I should have said as well, in between each of these takes, I'm just charging the battery up to get it as full as I can. So each time I'm waiting for the battery to charge back up to full power. So let's give it a go and see if the two vacuums are able to blow the sawdust from across the workbench. So it's 92 centimeters away. Let's see if the Hychika is up for the task. Okay, I'm not sure if you saw that, fellow woodworkers, but the Hychika literally did nothing there. I think it blew a few grains off of the top, but the pile is still pretty much 100% where it was. So that 92 centimeter gap across the workbench, I know I'm in a sort of garage and I've got the door open and it's sort of outdoor environment, but it really didn't do very well. So let's see if the Parkside can do any better. Okay, so fellow woodworkers, you should have seen there the Parkside took all of the sawdust off of the table. Now, bearing in mind the Parkside has a smaller motor in it. It's quite a lot smaller than the Hychika. It was much more powerful. That was on the sort of full power mode, which you'd likely use it in anyway. So in that test, definitely Parkside is the winner. So, fellow woodworkers, we've come to the end of the testing, and I know what you're all going to be thinking. Which one am I going to say is the winner? And of course, it's not going to be a straightforward answer. As you know, I've really loved the Hychika. In my recent best tool videos, it scored incredibly highly because it is something that I literally use all of the time. This Parkside, although it's smaller in terms of the capacity and in terms of the motor, it performed equally as well as the Hychika. There are definitely advantages to this Parkside, being A, the way it's manufactured, it actually is quite sturdy. Obviously, it's come with a lot of accessories. It's really keenly priced. And for most of you, it's going to do the things you want it to do. So hoovering up around your mitre station, or maybe if you're using it to clean out your car, or if you've spilt some sawdust or something on the floor, it's got a lot of really good applications. The Hychika, on the other hand, has very, very similar capabilities. Obviously, it's a little bit bigger. It's got a little bit more of a powerful motor than the Parkside, but it's not as powerful, certainly in pushing, as the Parkside was. And although it's manufactured well, I actually think the Parkside takes a slight advantage in terms of quality of how it's made. The Parkside plastic is a little bit thicker in the moulding than the Hychika one. They both have virtually have identical 20 volt batteries, and as you saw from the test, not a lot really in terms of either of them. But this Hychika is a little bit bigger, but this is a little bit more maneuverable due to its size. So, although it is a dead heat in lots of ways, I am going to say, for me, the Parkside slightly shades it for two key reasons. Number one, it's on the Power Team battery series, which makes it really easy to use with a range of different batteries. And number two, probably the most important thing, is that 2-power mode. The Hychika doesn't have that, and as you'll have seen from the test, it takes the Hychika a couple of seconds to get going. The Parkside, literally straight out the box, as soon as you switch it on, it gets going, and it's really powerful. There's a real difference between those two modes. So if you want an eco mode to let your battery last a bit longer, you've got the opportunity to do that. And that one little thing just slightly edges the Parkside ahead for me. So that's the end of this week's video. Hopefully you enjoyed my not so scientific test. If you've got either of these, particularly if you recently picked up the Parkside, please let me know in the comments. If you're new to the channel, please can I ask you to subscribe, like, comment, hit the notification bell. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps the channel a massive amount, and it helps tell Google that this sort of content can be shared with other people. If you're a regular subscriber, please don't forget to also like and comment, and let me know if you've had any experience of either of these two products. I'll catch you on next week's edition of the Garage Workshop. Take care, fellow woodworkers.